Tes 1 2. Saya tengok. Tak apa, sama bagi orang masuk. Boleh? Cuba dengar. 1 2 3. Masuk ke? 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Tes 1 2 3. Tes 1 2 3. Tes mic 1 2 3. Tes. Masuk tak? Kuatkan value lah. Tes mic 1 2 3. Sebelum kuat. Tes. Masuk kan? Aku macam dengar. Tes 1 2 3. Tes mic 1 2 3. Tes 1 2 3. Tes mic.
Slow kan?
Tes. Tes. HDMI cabling tu. Cabling ini. Oh. Plug. Kita pakai yang ni kan satu lagi mic ni. Aku bagi satu. Cak dah ada dua sedang.
Habis nak start ni. Hello. Hello. Oi. Oh, mic sebelah kan. Cuba. Test. Okay tak? Testing. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. Last. Hello. Test. Bawa ada. Test. Testing. Kalau duduk jauh dia gerak. Test. Testing. Ada. Mic sebelah ada. Dia connect dengan sebelah.
Ini yang sebelah je sebab dia ada dua. Saya kita pakai ini. Soalan.
Hello, hello. Test, test. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Ah.
Test, test. Test, test. Paper lama. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 test test 1 2 3. Dengar tak? Dengar tak? 1 2 3 test test. 1 2 3 test. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 3. Mic test. Check check test. 1 2 3. Dengar tak? Clear? Tak clear. Okay? Okay. Tak ada. We can use yang tadi. Test. Wah, tu kuat. Okay, jap. Test. 1 2 3. 1 2 1 2. Dengar tak? Dengar. Okay. Dengar. Okay, dengar tak? 1 2 3 test. 1 2 1 2 test. Okay, 1 2 3 1 2 3. Dengar. Okay. Dengar. Okay. Okay, pasal ni lah nanti. Oh, ni laptop dia. Laptop kita ni.
Bagi dia laptop kita.
So nanti dia akan yang main. Test 1 2 1 2.
Salah tadi.
File slideshow tak ada.
Belum ni. Pakai laptop lain. Dia dah detect. Pakai laptop ni. Tapi I rasa kena ni, jangan mirror.
Kan lah.
Start. So nanti dekat sini is the sekarang slides kena ambil. Cari kursi. Ambil kursi kantin. Boleh.
Boleh.
Jangan kita cari.
Test. Cuba tengok. Test, test. Okay, dah. Test. Test.
What do you really want to find out, but you never go around to asking? Even questions like, is the IB any good? You can say in Chinese, she can translate. Yeah, totally fine. Evan can. Evan helped me. It's always good to have friends.
Actually, she has three options in mind: Taylor's, Fairview, and Consultations. Then 2 days ago, the Danny school in Newport.
Oh yeah.
So she is very worried about the learning environment in the international school, bullying cases in the school, and how the school deal with it. Yeah. She is more concerned on the environment more than the curriculum and how the school respond to work on it.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, that is the question.
So bullying and how we, okay. Let's focus on the bullying case and the overall environment.
Because in Xiaohongshu recently, there's a lot of posting.
About bullying?
Not only about bullying, about the usage of gadgets. Yes. Okay, and also there are too many Chinese in the school.
why don't, is this too far away for you? I mean, there's just two of you right now, so why don't you come up over here? Why don't you come up this way? Then you can see better as well. Yeah, come on in. Hi, come on in. Come this side, this side. Morning, come on in. What's your name? Come on over to the front. There's only a few of us here, so we're going to do it very personal. Much more on Facebook, so. Oh, you want to stay on that side? Okay. It's just that I don't want to, I'm going to just get things out of the way so I can move freely. Okay? So, Jess, Dana, I can't remember your name again. So sorry. Elaine. Jess, Dana, Elaine. Okay. And of course, Dr. Evan. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to start my clock so that we are precise on time. Okay, so welcome everybody. We're going to start with this. I've been in education for quite some time now, since 2009. And about 2012, I started a program called the IB Diploma Program. If you've heard of this program, it's one of the most sought after, difficult programs ever. But the universities love it. So when we started this program, we thought, okay, let's do this really good. I'm going to steal all of the smartest people in Malaysia with scholarships. I had 12 students, all scholarship students. From Chonghua, I got number 1 and number 2. The number 1, 10A star, and the number 2 also 10A star. I got both of them. In that first year of running the program, in the first 2 years, I put them through hell. Lots of classes, lots of extra homework, extra tuition, one-to-one, extra work, everything I did. Everything I thought would work in the classic sort of exam thinking sense, you know. I did all of it, and we worked really, really hard, that first batch of teachers. Now, if you know in the IB Diploma, what's a good score? The lowest score is 0, the highest score is 45. Now, I need to tell you this because you need to understand how bad things got. The passing score is 30. Good score is 35, 36 onwards. God score is 40 upwards. If you're in 40, you're going to Harvard, you're going to Cambridge, you're going to Oxford already. That's the God level. My wife is a 42. Okay, so she's smart. I am not smart. When we did the exam for that first batch, my score, I was hoping for like 40. Scholars, right? I spent a lot of money already from the school to pay for these scholars. 33. So pathetic. I don't know what happened. The next year we did it again, even harder. More exams, more tuition. 32. Huh? Getting worse now. I didn't understand what's going on. On top of that, and I'll tell you why, some of the reasons for that, why later. The funny other thing is, one of my students came to me, the Chonghua girl, and she said, Dr. Vincent, your teachers are very bad. I said, what's wrong? And I said, 2 things. 1, when we had the revision week, the questions your teacher went through in the revision week didn't come out in the exam. I thought, huh? You really got to ask me questions like this one. Then I asked other people, hey, what's going on over here? They said, no, that's how they do things in Chinese school. You don't understand. This is how it works. Next question, she said, Dr. Vincent, your teacher never told us which page from the textbook is coming out in the exam. I didn't know what to study. I thought, hey, God, like this one. You got to tell people only this page to this page is coming out in the exam. I said, yeah, that's how they do it in Chinese school and IGCSE schools. They tell you which page to study. I thought, this is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. Have you ever done have you ever done a performance review on staff before and told them, I'm only going to ask you questions from here to here only? That's nonsense. It's not real. And you can see the problem now. What I want to do with these stories is really highlight to you there is a problem in almost all of education right now. Everything that you think that you know about education, there's a fundamental problem with all of it. And your children are being prepared wrongly. They're not being prepared for life, they're being prepared for an exam. And if we don't wake up to this, your children will be disadvantaged in the world of tomorrow. Right, so let's get going. We are Fairview International School, and thanks for coming. We're going to share with you over the next 45 minutes, and it's a 45-minute monologue. I do apologize. about who we are and what we do. So this really captures what we are, what we stand for, and what we believe in. Quality education for every child. And it's very simple. Quality education means teaching properly. Teaching properly doesn't mean teaching to an exam. And I'll explain more about this in a bit. Every child means I'm not going to charge Mont Chiara fees or St. Joseph fees, because that's just ridiculously high, right? I don't want to be the guy that only charges school fees so that children who drive Porsches can come in. That's not the point of why we are here. We're here to educate people, not educate rich people. Fairview is a big group. We've got quite a few things. We have the schools on this end, which you'll know about. We do the 3 IB programs, PYP, which is primary school, MYP, which is middle school, and DP, which is the one that I just talked about. We also have a university, but this university is special, and I'll talk about it a bit later. It only has one faculty. You know, like university has faculty of science and things like that. This one has only one faculty. It's the faculty of education. We train teachers how to teach. And we're the only ones in Malaysia that do this. As in, there's a school and a university that are working side by side, training teachers how to teach and then teaching kids. On top of that, we have a Dominus Arts venue. You'll take a look at it later, where we believe our kids need to practice and perform and speak out in public. It's very important. And we have some outdoor camps and international expeditions to really work with our kids and bring them overseas and open up their sense of perspectives. There's a lot more going on in there, but I'm going to be brief because I know that there's only so much your brain can take right now. These are the campuses that we have, 5 across Malaysia. We are here, right? We got Johor, Penang, Ipoh, and in Subang as well. And we have our lovely campus over in the Bridge of Allen up in the UK. Any of our students can request to transfer over there if they'd like to. But of course, if they're too young, we'll say stay with mommy first. Now, one important thing that I want to tell you as well is that we are also listed on the London Stock Exchange as of October of last year. And what does this mean to you as a parent? This is not a fly-by-night company. We didn't open up. We're not going to close down suddenly. This company has gone through very steep levels of financial and corporate governance to be where it is. This is not a play-around kind of company. Okay, so we're going to get right into it now. I haven't taken too long for that introduction. The Fairview difference. There are many things that I can ask you to remember about me, but I'm going to sum it up into 3 things. I'm a teacher as well, so I know you can't remember more than 3 things at any one time. The first thing that I want you to remember is that we prepare children for life, not exams. This is really important. The second one is we deliver results. And the third one is we're driven by substance, not show. Okay? Now I'm going to go through each one by one, slowly. What do we mean by we prepare children for life? This is a very big area, and a lot of schools are going to claim how they're going to do this. Oh, they use words like future ready. Have you heard that word before? Future ready? Jess? Yeah. A lot of schools love to say future ready. But how do you get your kids to be future ready? You don't just do a little bit here and a little bit there. You need a concrete plan. This is our plan. We did an analysis on how do we make sure your kid is future ready. By the way, I'm going to go through all of this one by one slowly, so you don't need to read it all one by one. It's just showing you the overall picture, that's all. You need good values, and I'm going to share how we develop values. You need skills, soft skills, these transferable skills like presentation and communication. You need leadership skills. You need emotional intelligence. You need, now this is very, very rarely spoken about, international perspectives, okay? And finally, you don't need a career and you don't need a university application form. You need a purpose. Too many people are only talking about which university course do I go to. That's too shallow. You need to drive longer than that. You need a sense of purpose, meaningful existence. Now, I'm going to go through, for the sake of this presentation, I'm just going to go through 3 things, because going through all of it might take a bit too long right now. But feel free to ask me if you're interested to hear about anything else. Okay, so the first one, values. A lot of parents tell me the most important thing that they want for their child is to be of good character. The most proud thing I am, my child came home with an A the other day in math, just recently. And it made me happy, but it didn't make me proud. That same son was eating ice cream. And he came home and he was holding the ice cream, and his younger brother didn't have an ice cream because the younger brother came home early. And he gave his ice cream to his younger brother. That made me proud. Parents, you know what you are looking for. The world tells you what's good, but you know intuitively inside what's good. It's when your child shows that they got a good sense of character, that they're going to be a good man or woman. That matters. But the question is, you don't know how to develop that. I will tell you, there is a science about it, and it's not that hard. First thing you need to know, in order to teach values, you cannot teach it in a class. Did you go to public school? You know morals class? Where we have one class a week where you go into the class, they ask you, if there's an old woman crossing a road, walking across the road, what should you do? Oh, hold her hand. You go outside the class, I don't care. Right? Any Christians in the room? Christians? No Christians in the room? Okay. So I used to go. I go to church in Sunday, during service. Everybody's all good inside the church. The moment you're coming out of the church, because there's a big traffic jam, car cut them off. The guy's like swearing. Blah, 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 blah. Classic. You cannot teach good values in an isolated environment, because the moment you leave that environment, they turn into monsters again. Doesn't work. You need to teach it. This is the phrase we use. It's very, very detailed phrases. In line with daily activities. Spread everywhere. If I'm going to teach you how to be caring, I'm not going to teach it in a morals class. I'm going to teach it in biology. I'm going to teach it in chemistry. I'm going to teach it in math, in English. I'm going to teach it non-stop right throughout the whole day. Because you need to see examples of that everywhere. Not just morals class. It doesn't get into your head. So the first thing is, you need to teach it in a diffuse way, not concentrated. The second one is, good values aren't taught. They are caught. What does this mean? I cannot tell you, be caring, be caring, be caring, be caring. It doesn't work. Doesn't work, huh? You have to decide to be caring. Now, how do you decide to be caring? There's a couple of tricks we use. One, role modeling and caring. Of course, I behave caringly. But the other one that's more fun, that people don't use too much. We will have everybody, we are in a biology class right now, okay? We've just learned about abortion. Now, I want you to have a discussion with the other person about whether abortion is right, about whose feelings are we taking care of, whose feeling is more valuable in this situation, the unborn child or the mother who is distressed. Discuss. There is no ending, and I will stop you in 5 minutes. Now, this is a horrible discussion. This is really tough discussion for a 14-year-old, to think about the pain. But when you start letting them speak by themselves and talk through it, first time, nothing happens. Second time, they start, hey, I have an opinion. Third time, fourth time, fifth time, something starts to happen in your head. Of course, I'm not saying have the same discussion 6 times, but different discussions around the concept of being caring. These are called ethical dilemma discussions. In our school, inside the curriculum, we have to have these. These are built into the lessons. Every teacher must have a 5-minute discussion every week, at least one. Now you do this across 8 subjects, what happens? 8 discussions a week are happening. About what? Being caring, being principled, being open-minded, taking risks. So I'm going to go through this part. We follow what we call the IB Learner Profile, a set of 10 values. If you look up there at the top, you're going to see the words from the left: courageous, open-minded, inquirers, reflective, principled, knowledgeable, caring, thinkers, balanced, and communicators. These are the 10 values we structure into the lesson plans to have these ethical dilemma discussions with our kids. Okay? That's the first one. I've told you about the moral dilemma discussions already. That's how we actually get it into the children. And finally, I've already told you about how values are caught, not taught. This process is called the Socratic method. That's the complicated way of saying things. Basically, you discuss and then you discover by yourself. That's the easy way of describing it. So if parents, if you want to take something home, do it by yourself. There. 1, have a set of values. What is the Dana family values? What is it? Do you know it? Do you have it on a wall? Are you clear about it? First step. Second one, have these discussions at dinner time. It's free. Choose one, choose any value, have a discussion at dinner time, and don't let them stop. Just let them talk. They can be wrong. It's okay. But they need to figure it out by themselves. This is the part where it describes that discussion as well. Now, the second thing, skills, very important. The World Economic Forum has already told us repeatedly. World Economic Forum is like this. Do you know WEF, Jess? Okay, I don't need to explain it then. Do you know WEF? World Economic Forum. Okay, basically a bunch of guys across the world who's decided, done a lot of great research saying, these are the skills of tomorrow that we need. We took all of those skills and we said, okay, we need to put it into a way that we can deliver in classes. Now, the problem with skills is if you go to any school, and since you're going to other schools, I challenge you to do this with them, okay? Ask them the first question. Do you teach my child skills? The answer will be, of course, yes. Second question, what skills do you teach? They will sure be able to answer. Presentation skills, communication skills, collaboration skills. Always say one. Third question, how do you do it? When you hear the answer of how you do it, the answer will almost always fall into this pattern. We give your children a lot of opportunity to practice, and somehow if they practice enough, they're going to be wonderful. But that's like saying, give me a badminton racket, and if you practice enough, you'll be Rashid Sidek. It doesn't work, right? Because Rashid Sidek knows how to hold the racket, he knows how to swing the racket, he knows how to move. There's a theory behind it. Practice doesn't work. You need to combine the theory and the practice. And in order to have the right theory, you got to choose the right theory. Your teachers need to know the theory in the first place. You need to practice the theory correctly next with the drills. It's not that easy. So most people choose the easy path. Welcome. Sorry. No worries. Most people choose the easy path and just go for practice because it's easier. Now, what do? This is a program of 42 skills. Skills like the Toulmin argument structure. How do you construct a logical argument with warrants and counter-arguments? This is Belbin's teamwork. This is Toastmasters 10 steps to presentation. Each skill, whenever I say there's a skill we teach, it's attached to a framework that has either got a book about it or it's well researched and has a lot of research papers. So I'm not going to teach rubbish. The same skill is then taught from PYP all the way up to the DP. So we don't get confusion, because guess what's going to happen? In primary 5, one teacher says, present in the Jackson way of presenting. Okay, I teach you Jackson way. The kid learns Jackson way of presenting and presents. Next year, present in the Jamie way of presenting. Huh? I just learned the Jack. Okay, change. Present the Jamie way of presenting. Next year, present in the Evan way of presenting. Oh my gosh. Guess what's happening now? 3 well-meaning teachers trying to do the same thing, but they're all confusing the kid because they have different ways of doing it. And what the bad schools will do is they haven't actually told all the teachers, you're not using your own Jackson, Jamie, Evan way. You're using the Toastmasters 10 steps way. Nobody changes. Everybody uses the same one. You're not confusing the kids. Kid says that, I know the Toastmasters 10 steps. Can I please learn the Jamie way of presenting? I say, fine. You know this first, you can go there. But if you don't know this, you don't go there. So everybody's got a really great base. The other wonderful thing about this, because we have it really structured across the school, is the science guys will teach your child how to present. And they will literally say, and this is what we use, the 10-step Toastmasters. So they say, kids, when you present about the abortion, should it be allowed or not? Okay, when you do this presentation, use the Toastmasters method. In English, we're doing Romeo. Okay, kids, you're going to do a presentation about who's the dumber person, Romeo or Juliet. But when you present, you need to use the 10-step Toastmasters technique. And I know you know this because you were taught this last year and even this year in your science class. You get the idea now? This is what we call consistency across subjects, across levels. It is because of such a powerful program that we have that we won an award for it in 2014. Okay? All right, so, and these things are, you can, from what I'm telling you, I think you can guess already, the skills are directly integrated into the biology lesson, not as a separate class, because that's how you learn stuff, integrated in. Yeah, I'll do this one very briefly. The other things that we do to prepare your children for life, We teach leadership skills, and we're basing it on the 7 habits structure. Do you all know the 7 habit structure? Do you know 7 habits of highly successful teens? So you don't know, sorry, I didn't get your name, sorry. Nurul, okay, so I'll explain it. Do you know the 7 habits? No, okay, so Jess, you know the 7 habits? Oh, you know quite a few things. You've been around the block, I guess. Okay, so the 7 habits, there's a book out there by Stephen Covey. May I suggest, make your children read it. It's a good book. It's called The 7 Habits. They have it for adults and they have it for teenagers, okay? And they also have it for leaders. The 7 habits are, the concept behind it is you don't just learn a skill, you need to build a habit. So for example, one of the habits in there is called think, win, win. Remember we just talked about this? One of the habits inside the 7 habits is called think, win, win. And it's really about not trying to win-lose, which is competitive, but win-win as in collaborate. And the 7 habits are a fantastic framework that millions of people around the world know. And we use that framework because it's easy to use, it's very child appropriate, and it's highly effective. And the whole framework is based on that. Your kids basically go to camp, and then they come back to school, and they apply the 7 habits in scenarios. So we don't believe in just teaching stuff. You also got to practice it. So when they come back to school, they have some time in school where we do scenarios, where your children pretend one person becomes a leader and it does certain tasks and leads the teams. So that's how we build leadership. And the leadership, I think, is really one of the most important things based on the WEF report about the skills required for the next years. Next one, wellness. How do we make sure your kid doesn't jump off the roof? That was a joke, but no. Okay, so stress is getting to become serious. The cases of teenage suicide in Singapore and Hong Kong and Malaysia are on the rise. It is a very real issue. A lot of people say it's called strawberry generation. The kids are just too soft nowadays. I don't think so. I think there's a lot more going on. Kids today are under more stress than you and I went through. Because in our generation, you threw a rock at anything you can make money on. Nowadays, the environment has changed. It's getting really tough and busy. So the future financial pressures are up. The amount of work they have to do is up. And on top of that, we have a breakdown of character in this generation because everybody is being taught by, not their parents, they're being taught by Facebook Shorts nowadays. Character is being molded by Facebook Shorts. So you have a bunch of mean kids in the middle. You combine these 3 things together, you have a whole bunch of kids that are very likely to be emotionally stressed out of their mind. This is the basic problem. So our program is called Anchor. And I was, in my last life, before I was a teacher, I was a psychiatrist. So my job was to deal with depressed people. I knew this thing in and out. I know what it's like. The problem with depression is if you wait till the milk is spilled on the floor to do anything about it, you're already way too late. You need to stop the milk from spilling onto the floor. That's the only way to do it. You know what the problem with most counselors are? And since you're going around, you should ask them this, okay? What do your counselors do? Because when I had counselors, the first time I had counselors in the school, they sat down in their office and they waited for people to come through the door. I was sitting there looking at them thinking, if I am sad, I just broke up with my girlfriend, I am depressed, I'm feeling terrible, do you think I want to walk through your door? I just want to crawl up in a corner and die already. You expect me to crawl through your door to come to see you? Are you crazy? Why? So I go to the counselors. Counselors, why don't you go and help John? John just broke up with Jill. Please go help. No. We have to wait for them to come to us. Then they are ready to speak. You understand that kind of thinking? This is the problem of the entire mental health industry. The entire thing. They are lazy. They wait. And the way of thinking is called, it's reactive thinking. They deal with problems when they arrive. It's not a proactive problem-solving situation. Some people have started to think differently. Like, I think it's AIA insurance that gives you bonus benefits or points when you exercise a lot, right? If you join the gym, you exercise, you get bonus. So this is a more proactive way of thinking. Now, in school, our counselors are primed to be proactive. Right from the get-go, when I hire them, the statement is, if you think you're going to be sitting on your backside in a room, cushy, that's not going to work. You better not apply here, because that's not how it works. You need to get out there and find problems and pull the problems in, because they're not going to come to you. You need to go to them. That's the first most important mindset shift you need to understand about emotional wellness here. It's not a reactive conversation. Secondly, we survey all of our kids every 6 months to find out what is the pulse of the entire school. The word prosper is actually an acronym. It includes words like purpose, outcomes. Outcomes means, do you have a target in life? Strengths, do I know my strengths? Do I have good relationships? That's the R in there. So we have this nice survey that a wonderful Australian researcher created called Tony Noble, and we send it out to our kids every 6 months. So we get the pulse of the school every 6 months, and based on what is lacking, then we run campaigns in the next 6 months. You can kind of get the survey campaign, like that. That's how we do things. So we do this. And of course, we've got our counselors. Now, a very important thing that I'm going to tie into in terms of the pedagogy later, I'm going to start it out here is, in order for me to invite you to speak, when I ask you, what's your opinion? Do you feel scared, in a way, to speak? Like, I'm going to be judged, right? Whenever you get invited to share your thoughts in an open environment, you feel worried and fearful because I feel I'm going to be judged. Like, if I say something stupid, I'm going to be labeled as stupid. This fear of judgment, where does it come from? You remember in class, what year is the World War II? Who shot who first? Who won? Our teachers used to do that kind of thing to us. Imagine 13 years of doing that. What does that do to you? You're being taught every statement you make is a judgment. That's wrong. That's not the way it should work at all. You're being taught to be fearful all of your life. Now, in our classrooms, we have to create an environment where we want a lot of discussions. Okay, so the objective in our classrooms is we need people to talk in our classrooms because that's kind of the pedagogy we use. We need to make you talk. In order to do that, you need to do two things. You need to create a safe environment where people don't feel judged, part one, and you need to use non-judgmental communication, part two, in order to do that. There's two parts to this. Safe, the concept of being safe must be told to everybody, this is a safe classroom. We do not socially and emotionally hurt people here. When you tell me your thoughts, judging is, that is a rubbish answer, that is a good answer, that is the right answer. By the way, positive judgment is just as bad as negative judgment. Huh? Instead, we'll go, that's a really interesting line of thought. I didn't really think in that direction, but I think it could do with a bit more growth. I think you want to sit on that and develop it and come back to me again. That's a really nice perspective. I think you've got a lot of good thoughts going on over there. I want you to share this with your friend because I like the way you're thinking. I think you can still grow some more. That's non-judgmental. That's very different. I'm talking about your judgment, not you are a good person. You are right. Good girl. Well done again, Jimmy. That's judgmental. Now, to facilitate the way that we do things, we have to use non-judgmental communication. And that's this one right here, safe, supportive community. Now, I really hope that as I share with you what's going on, the one thing that you start to pick up from all of this is when we say we do something, there's a lot of thought behind how we get it done. We're not joking around when we say we're going to do it. It's not marketing spiel. There's a detailed plan behind each step of the way, and this is not easy to execute. Right, expeditions. I'll only tell you a little bit about this. The problem with our world today is that we value perception over perspective taking. This is a complicated sentence, so hold with me here. It means we value our perception of reality more than we're willing to take the perspectives of others. We value how we see the situation more than we value the need to understand somebody's perspective. You see that? I hope you understand that statement. That's the big problem that we're seeing here. When we go internationally, most schools that go to, say, Bangkok will contact a vendor. Vendor will say, okay, come to Bangkok. Can you make it a child-safe trip, please? Yeah, okay, so we'll just add one more guy. That's it. And we won't go to the really dangerous places. That's it. That's what most schools do when they go for school trips. It's just a regular adult trip made safe for kids. For us, we'll take the kid. I'll give you an example. Angkor Wat Suchi tunnels. You know the tunnels in Vietnam? Okay. Kids, we're all in the Suchi tunnels. Go into the tunnel, and I want you to sit there for 2 minutes. And when you're done sitting there, we're going to have a discussion. Come out of the tunnels. You're just in the tunnel. All of you are going to split into pairs now. One person take the American side, one person take the Vietnamese side. Who is more evil? The Vietnamese guy that pops out of the tunnel and shoots the American worker and kills him, or the American soldier throwing grenades and burning somebody alive? Who is more evil? And they will both discuss this once they understand how horrible the situation is. And more often than not, they will both arrive at the same issue. Both of them are just trying to go home to their families. Neither of them want to be there. Nobody's more evil. And when you have these sort of discussions, in the moment, you force the perspective taking to be done, this changes everything. Now, question, does any curriculum in the world that you know of promote perspective taking? Because I've never heard of it in IGCSE before. I've never. I don't know about it in the Malaysian curriculum, Canadian, Australia. I've never heard of it anywhere else except the IB. And this skill is probably the single greatest skill that develops excellent communicators and leaders. And this is my personal favorite. This is how we prepare children for life. Purpose. Okay. First problem. Career counselors only make your children buy the university that they have a commission built with. Big statement. You understand that? You follow that? Career counselors only send your kids to the universities that they already have a commission structure built with. If I'm a career counselor and you want to go to Australia and I have a deal with Monash University, I will not encourage you to go to Melbourne. I will encourage you to go to Monash because I have a deal with Monash. Now, all the career counselors out there, do you really think that they have connections with everybody in the world so that they're impartial? No, of course not. It's physically impossible. So there will always be a bias. There is no career counselor out there without a bias. Either they don't have a bias or they just don't know. But that's about as much as career counselors do. Second thing is, they only focus on the next step. Which university are you going to? Which course are you going to? After that, they don't care. Because they don't know how to do it. This is what we do. We don't focus on career. We focus on this word here, purpose. Now, if you go to ChatGPT and go do some searches, you will find that there's a lot of things associated with a sense of purpose, including higher grades and living longer, particularly, strangely enough. Less heart attacks for some reason. There are 4 parts that we do. I want you to imagine this, and you can take this home for your own kids. You can do this today, by the way. Ask your children 4 questions. First question, what do you really love? Write it down, child. What do you really love? Second question, what are you really good at? Write it down. Write it down. Third question, what can I be paid for? Now, the third question, really, you need to ask ChatGPT for help because you need to find out what the trending salaries, jobs that are becoming more in demand. That's really like public information, okay? So the third one is you and him working on ChatGPT together to find this information. The fourth question is the one that brings it all together, and here's the magic question. What great big problem am I willing to dedicate the next 2 years of my life solving? This is the magic purpose question. If you can answer that question, you have a purpose. Problem, because in order for you to have a purpose, you need to be meaningfully contributing back to society. You have to solve a problem. So the word problem is there for that reason. What problem, what great big, now why did I say great big problem, not small problem? Solve small problem like sweep floor, earn small money, janitor. Solve big problem, earn big money. Makes sense. No, it's no difficult thing. What are the greatest, biggest problems in the world that we face today? Very big. Does anybody know? It starts with the letter S. Sustainable Development Goals. You know the UN SDG? UN, they have this like list of sustainable development goals that they say are the biggest problems in the world. Solve. What great big problem are you willing to dedicate the next 2 years of your life to solving? Start there. What we do over here is we go through the four questions. Every 2 years, from year 4, in 3 cycles, all the way up to Form 4. Let me explain how this works so you can understand it. In year 4, your child is 10, 9? Evan, how old is year 4? 9? 8. Okay, 8. Let's start, 8 years old. At 8 years old, every 6 months, I will run a workshop for you. The workshop will focus on one question only. So the first workshop is called, what do you really love? I love YouTube. I love playing games. I love football. I love this. I love that. Okay? At the beginning, at 8 years old, all you're doing is teaching them the process. You're not really going for accuracy just as yet. So they write this down. Next step, what are you really good at though? I'm really good at singing. I'm really good at math. I'm really good at drawing. I'm really good at making friends. Okay, there are different kinds of good. We need to write it down. Write it down. It's really important. Write it down. Third step, what can you earn nowadays? Hey kids, these are the highest paying jobs in the world. Let me show you the highest paying jobs across the world. This is how much you can earn. Do you know what you can do with this kind of money? Oh, these are the most amazing things that people have done in the world. This biology is da 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 da. That's the third step to understand the world. And the fourth step, they sit down. And the point is they will make a decision at that point, at the fourth workshop, what am I going to dedicate my life to for the next 2 years? What problem am I going to solve? There's a template. It's like fill in the blanks, so it's really easy. But the thing is, are the kids going to do that for the rest of their life? Of course not. But they get the process. Now, they finish this in 8 years old and 9 years old, 10 years old and 11 years old. They go through the same thing again, except this time we're going to add some surveys into this because they're smarter. What do I really love? I'm going to add the RISEC test to this. It's a test that does this sort of stuff. And then the next one, what am I really good at? Strengths. I'm going to add the VR Strengths Finder to this point over here. So he'll write, what am I good at? And then he'll also have the VR Strengths Finder report. And then for the third one, we'll of course do the same thing again, but much more detail about jobs and stuff like that. You see what's going to happen here? The second time he does it, he's much more serious. He knows what's going on, but he's like, I've already done this before. It was so boring, Dr. V, but okay, I'll get it done. This time, I don't want to be a YouTube influencer. I want to be a lawyer because I think I can talk a lot, and it kind of fits my skills. Okay. Now you do it a third time. Now the guy's really irritated. Dr. Vincent, I'm very bored. I've done it a few times already. Why do I have to do this again? But he goes through it a third time, much more mature, done this twice, so he's really well practiced. Dr. V, I'm going to be a cybersecurity engineer because that's the future. Now, can he do this a fourth and a fifth and a sixth time? Of course he can, because I gave him the template and I taught him how to do it 3 times already. That's the magic of Aspire. That you won't find in any school except this one, because that's completely unique to us. Okay? So practice makes perfect, and expert counseling. We got counselors coming in, and we have a partnership with a company called Enrol. I don't know whether you know them. They're Malaysia's biggest placement company. They have 70 counselors and lots of ways of how to place your kids all over the world. Okay, so they're very, very strong. Okay, now that I've told you about how do we prepare your children for life, I'm going to tell you about how we deliver results. Because I'm Chinese, I want numbers. Okay. Still want my numbers. All that nice stuff is nice, but parents, let's get real. You still want numbers. But before I do that, you need to know what kind of numbers am I giving you. And I need to tell you what is the IB. So first part, what is the IB? It's the best practices made compulsory. All curriculums in the world will teach the teachers, these are the 10 best ways to teach, like inquiry, varied assessment, don't scold and shout at your kids, blah, 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 blah. They'll write it down, and then they will say, please do it. The difference between the IB and everyone else is, the IB will say, these are 10 things you should do it, or I take away your license. It's compulsory. One side optional, one side compulsory. There are many talented teachers on this side. I have many great friends teaching over here, but I know how many bad people there are. On this side, I know if you don't do it, you're dead. There's a standard. I know where I'm going to put my money. I'm not going to put it in the variable section because it's a hit and miss game. Doesn't mean that you pay, when you do interviews, doesn't mean that when you pay for a very expensive employee that you're going to get good quality out of that guy, because the interview is a hit and miss. Same thing with the school. When you spend big money, it doesn't mean you get good quality either. It's still a hit and miss. Second thing is that it's truly international. The IB does not care about international boundaries. It is very happy to teach the Nanjing massacre. Okay? It is very happy to teach about what the British did in India because it doesn't care. If you learn in the IGCSE, I asked my dad, hey dad, how come I didn't learn about the Opium War? You know, he showed me the Chinese drama. I was like, cannot happen. How come I don't know about this? And I went through the whole IGCSE history also. He said, Vincent, who wrote your history book? Do you really think that they're going to write down all the bad things that they did to teach you? Of course not. So you go and join the American syllabus. You think they're going to teach you about all the bad things that America did? You go and join the Canadian syllabus, similar. You go and join the English syllabus, Australian syllabus. Each one of these guys have their skeletons in the cupboard, and they will tell you their version of history. The IB says, I don't really care about any of yours because we don't even use a textbook. We don't use a textbook here. We will teach all perspectives, and we don't have any bias. This is less important to a child because they don't know how important it is. But as a man who was brought up in a Western environment, I was trained in the UK, raised in an international school, having lost my Chinese cultural roots, I know what I've lost and why it's so important to keep it. And how dangerous is bias and indoctrination. And you need to be aware of your kids as well. Okay, I already talked you through this part about the IB. If you can remember these three things about the IB, that's all you need to know about it, frankly. It's international, I explained this to you. And this is my favorite part. If I want to go to Harvard, 100 people apply, 5 people get in. If I'm an IB student, 12 people get in. Stanford, Princeton, Yale. It's pretty obvious. I don't have to tell you that IB students get in more. It's not just more, it's like 3 times more. IB students are preferred at all universities in the world except Malaysia. I cannot go to UITM or UTM. Malaysian universities don't like me. I don't know why. But every other university in the world, yes, they love the IB. Love it way more than the A-levels or any other pre-university qualification out there. That's for the US, and this is for the UK. Have a look at this. DP students were 3 times more likely to go to the top 25 universities in the UK. You want to go, if you want to have your child go far, go IB, straight line. Now there's lots of reasons I can explain to you why people take the A-levels and why it's so silly, but we'll leave that for later. So the IB, 3 programs. These are rough age groups for each of the 3 programs. Primary school, middle school, and the DP program, which is the last 2 years. That's the same as the A-levels for those who don't know, okay? And now, how do I deliver results? We are, unfortunately last year I was number 2, but for every year in the 4 years prior to that, I was the #1 IB school in Malaysia. And for 5 years straight, I am a top 100 IB school in the world. No breaks, consistent performance. When I say we deliver results, this is it. I can tell you all sorts of things and make all sorts of promises, but I think that is unshakable. Okay? Our average IB diploma score, by the way, is 36, not 33 anymore. And the reason why we went up to 36 was not because we were doing more tuition classes and all that. It's a bizarre story, and if you want, I'll tell you later. It's about bringing family. Bringing family, safety, and security to the DP kids. Suddenly, when we did that, this weird, fluffy concept, they all became happy and scored so high. I don't understand it really well. I don't get it, but I know it works. And that's why we brought it to the entire school, because it works. So that's our school ranking, a bit of a screenshot from the website that you can find us on. It's called ibschools.com. Please confirm it by yourself if you want to see our rankings over there. And finally, what I want to finish off with, not too bad on timing, this is a really important aspect of who we are and what we are, okay? We're driven by substance, not show. We don't spend on things that don't move the needle. Very clear about that. If there's a teacher that costs 15,000 ringgit and a teacher that costs 6,000 ringgit, I'm going to hire the 6,000 ringgit, assuming that both guys can deliver the same. I'm not going to hire the $15,000 expat just because he's an expat and pulls more parents who don't seem to understand that Chinese people teach just as good as white people. Now, I'm saying this on Facebook, so I might get in trouble for that. I'm going to be very firm about this. A lot of parents go to an international school and ask the one question, how many expats do you have? And the moment I hear that statement, I instantly will tell you that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone say. Don't ask that question. Because the first moment you say that, I know that you just demeaned yourself. Because you believe that you're not worth it. Chinese teachers, Malay teachers, Indian teachers can teach as good, if not better. And I've proven it already. This is the average cost of international school fees across the world. And as you can see, if you compare the numbers, actually it's really great to be in Malaysia. MM2H, this is a great table for you to take seriously. We are like super affordable for international schools across the world compared to everybody else. Like the worst guy, I think Singapore is nasty, UK is really nasty, US is nasty as well. But let's refine a little bit. I'm going to focus on just, remember the schools inside my top 100 list? So I took a couple of those schools over there, like number 5 school and all the rest of the schools. Now, I'm sitting at number 80. There's a huge bunch of us at 80, by the way. Okay, so that's why you can see so many 80 guys over there. And of course, these are the names of the schools, the country of the schools, how much they cost, and how much more they cost than me. Of course, we have somebody crazy in Switzerland that costs 20 times what I cost, which is insane. This is our school fees. Average in Malaysia, you'd be running at about 70,000. We're at 40. This is accurate as of last year when I checked. Okay, some people don't put up their school fees, so I can't do very much about that. But this, if you run around for IB schools, this is what you're looking at. Why? IB is difficult to run. For all the reasons that I told you. Now there's some, just note, I've told you a lot of stuff about the IB. Some of the stuff is just me, and you have to separate that. For example, the IB doesn't have purpose. I do. The IB does teach skills, but not the way that I teach it. Okay, so very important. And a lot of people ask me, why are you so cheap one? How can you offer so low? It's crazy. And I have to answer this because if I don't, then everybody has weird questions. How do we do it? One, we grow. We don't parachute talent. Interviews are horrible at getting good talent. Even if you pay a lot of money, even if you're the best interviewer in the world, you ask all the best questions, you still get dum-dums on the plate sometimes. It's just a 50-50, no matter how good you are. Because the interviewer is trying to catch the mouse from lying all the time. That's all you're doing. This cat and mouse game is really silly. So what we said is, don't parachute in talent, grow talent. Remember I told you about this thing called the University College Fairview, my university, that only trains teachers? I train more than 200 teachers every year. Out of the 200 teachers, I only need 40 teachers every year. So you know what, with good scores, I take them all. And you can't lie on an exam that lasts for a period of time in my university. You can lie on interview. So I get the truth out of everybody, and I grab all the best. And then inside the school, once you finish your basic qualifications, there'll be masters and postgraduates. Everybody that's in this school, I usually tell my teachers, you're not here to earn money, you're here to learn. And when you're with me, I will sponsor your master's qualifications. I will sponsor your postgraduate degrees. Right? But you are here to learn. If you want to go and earn money, go to BIS. Go to ISKL and go earn some cash over there. But you're not going to do it here. Here is a learning institution. You're here to learn. Let's be clear about this. So everybody in here is about growth. We don't parachute in talent. And of course, because I see them for a long period of time, I can cut people off much faster. So quality, it's much easier for me to control this than anybody else. Next one, substance not show. I have a swimming pool. You'll see it later. It's not Olympic size. It's not heated. I have a football field. It's made of grass. It's not AstroTurf. I got a basketball court. It's got a rim. It's got lines on the floor. It's not like super sprung floor. Frankly, you pay me school fees, and you want me to spend it responsibly. If I start doing crazy things that look pretty to deceive you, or rather, it's not even you I'm deceiving the next parent. It's not you that's getting it. I'm deceiving the next parent. How do you feel about your spend of money? It doesn't work. When your child learns how to play football, do you want the national level coach to go and train him? Of course not. He can't even kick a ball. Anybody will do. You don't spend $1,000 to do something when you can spend $100. You want me to behave responsibly. And that's what I mean by substance over show. There are many things that schools do that's pure show, including AstroTurf football fields, Olympic-sized swimming pools, races of teachers, so on and so forth. We don't do that, and we don't believe in that. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off with this last bit. And it's, the reason why I'm putting this here is, it is as important for you to know what I am not to know what I am. I believe in preparing students for life. I'm not an exam factory. I really don't believe in that. If you love your A's and you're stuck in that generation where you can't seem to do anything except chase A's, and you want to compare the number of A's with your neighbor, oh, my son has 8 A's, your son has 2, I'm smarter than you. You know, this kind of behavior. If you want that, my Singaporean sister-in-law goes through this, by the way, on a daily basis. It's horrible. Don't come here, please. Go to another CIE school. If you want proven ranking, proven results, I deliver each time. I'm not going to sit there and change how I do things. I deliver results each year. And I'm not going to go, okay, thank you for your input, parent. You want me to teach more like this way? But I'm sorry, no, I'm not going to do that, because I have a method of doing it, and I have delivered results year on year on year on year. If you want me to deliver results for you, I will deliver results for you. I don't make empty promises just to make you happy. I don't capitulate. I am firm with what I do because I know what I do, and I do it well. Lastly, I'm going to focus on substance. I focus on smart investments. I will not buy an AstroTurf football field because your child doesn't need an AstroTurf football field. He needs a field. I'm not going to buy crazy, oh, you know those smart projectors in the room where you can do the touch thing, the touch screens? I'm not going to spend your money buying that stuff because it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't make your kids any smarter. It's just a toy. You don't want me doing that. You do not want me spending your money stupidly on toys like that. I will not buy that. A projector does just fine, or a TV. I will do that. I am not a luxury brand school. I do not have a cafe in the front for my parents, the mothers, to have a mother's club in the coffee shop outside the school every day. I know 2 schools that do this. It's hilarious. I'm not that kind of school. This is a place of learning. Drop your kids off, go home. We're here to learn, and I'm going to do it the right way. If I'm not doing it the right way, we can talk in terms of research, but I'm going to do it the right way. This is the kind of people I am. And that's that. Thank you very much. I will open for any questions at this point. Thank you. So you asked, just now you asked about bullying. I'm really hoping that everything I shared with you and the earlier conversation helped you a little bit with that. Did it answer your question, Dana? Mostly. Do you have anything else you want to ask?
I need to know, bullying happen, so how is the school?
Bullying will happen. Let me promise you, no matter what I do, somebody's going to do it, and I'm going to have to do what I don't like to do. I will expel somebody. Bullying, if I can catch it early, which we try to catch early, the best thing is to catch early. If I can catch it early, I will always catch it early. I will say, you stop it before it gets too late. I'm giving you a warning. If you cross this line, you're in trouble. Most kids don't listen. That's this unfortunate part. But we will know what's going on. But when it does happen, he'll be expelled. He'll be gone. I have expelled, I don't know, 4 this year already for that. She did it actually, not me. But she knows the stance that we hold. Like I shared before, like, sorry, you weren't here, both of you weren't here before, but I need to clarify on the stance that we take. In many other more Western culture-dominated schools, if a boyfriend and girlfriend walking around the canteen like this, the teacher will just go, ah, they're in love, how cute. If you try to do that here, I will tell you either stop or I'm going to expel you, because that is not acceptable in this environment. There's a very big difference in the way that we think. This is not a Western culture school. I need to make that hyper clear to people. If you want a Western culture school, this is not for you. We are an Asian cultured school. Our roots are Asian cultured, which means that there are many things that change. For example, if your child is not studying, I will sit there, have the teacher sit on him until he studies. I won't say, hey, yeah, you don't want to study, it's okay lah, try later lah, it's okay. No, 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 sit there. No, sit, right? I know you feel you're scared to try, but you're going to sit and do it. And you're going to sit there until we get it done. Because once you get it done the first time, you're going to get it done the second time, and then you'll thank me for it. That is a very different way of thinking, and we need to appreciate that difference, okay? Does that help with your question? Okay, great. I thought we need to hit the Sri Bestari bullying question quite hard, because I know a lot of you are worried about that. Do you have any specific question I can clarify now?
I just want to understand the difference between the Sudan campus and here. This one probably in social media we hear a lot more parents feedback for the Sudan campus. Here it's relatively different. Can you just share anything?
I think in terms of the software, hardware, okay? Whatever a child learns in biology here, exactly the same lesson plan and design is going to be in Subang. So the software side, the experience is the same on both sides. Okay? So I want to put that one clear first. The only thing that's lacking, and I will be very clear about this, is I don't have a counselor on Subang side. Cry counselor. Okay? I don't have one on that side. Any issues, we usually zoom them back here, because it's a small population. Okay? So that's the only software difference between the two, really. Apart from that, they go through all the same experiences. The hardware difference is very clear, though. This is a much bigger campus with a much bigger population. Subang's a lot smaller. They have a football field, they have a basketball field, they have no swimming pool. They have classrooms, they have canteens, they have a theater, same. The theater is not as big as on this side, of course, but they have a theater over there. So I think basically what you're looking at in Subang is lesser facilities and lesser stuff, hardware, compared to this side, but the software is the same on both sides. And in terms of scores, they're pretty close to us as well. So I wouldn't say that academically they perform less than us. That would be a wrong statement. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask, please?
I have an 8-year-old son.
Yes.
Who's diagnosed with autism.
Yes.
Do you have special support for him if I were to enroll him here? Do I need to get a shadow teacher, or he's 8, he will be 8 in December.
Yes.
He's been to school, but somehow he's been to 3 different schools, but he cannot read yet. I'm not sure, why. So I just want to know if you do take special needs kids here.
So I'd rather not discuss specifics with you while that camera is on, just respecting privacy. I'll discuss more with you outside, but just categorically, we do take a lot of special needs children, Down syndrome. We have quite a big advocate in Subang called Ms. Li Xian, who's a big advocate for the SEN community as well. We are not an SEN-equipped school, though. Okay, there's a big difference. We do take high-functioning children, but we don't have the facility to offer the extra assistance that's required, the shadow teacher, the OT support, the ST support, that kind of thing. But I'll give you the example of one of our parents who's done this. Essentially, the child does not disrupt things in the classroom. The child is in and we put him under a special sort of program. He's in for social purposes only. He's not there to score high grades. We just know that's not going to happen. But it's okay. He's in the class anyway. He's in a class of his peers. So we try to age match them, but we don't expect them to score A's and A stars. It's okay. As long as they don't disrupt the classroom, he can be there. But if we have severe disruption happening in the classroom, like minor disruption is okay. In fact, it's actually really good for the kids to be around other differently abled children. That would be the philosophy that we would hold. We appreciate that much more, because it's much better to teach a child compassion and care when they're able to see how fortunate they are. So we are very happy to welcome children of all abilities, just so long as we can manage the situation. What we don't want to do is provide an environment where we don't support sufficiently, because at certain stages of neurodivergence, you need specific input And if you miss the window, it's actually really bad for the kid. So but the thing is, in Malaysian SEN situations, you can actually get that support externally done. It doesn't have to be inside the school. So long as we can work out that arrangement, it's actually okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Ask me something hard. I need some hard questions. I've got to wake up a little bit. I haven't woken up yet. Ask me something hard that other schools don't want to tell you about, the secrets. Come on. Anything at all. Like, why are schools so expensive? Or, I don't know, anything? Okay. Well, I'll leave it at that. I know that there's a camera on, and for everybody on Facebook, thank you very much for coming on, and I appreciate that you spent some time with us this morning. I'd say I wish your kids all the very best and your families the very best, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye now. Off. Thank you.